Welcome back to Satisfactory. It is a new day as the new Fluids update is out and available. So the Fluid update adds a bunch of things to the game that we'll go through and show you how they can be used. First of which is the main content of the game itself that you need to research, which you can see at the top right of my screen. The current milestone is alternative fluid transport. It is over on basically the tier 5 at the end of that, so we can actually get that going. And I can just filter the stuff in here that I already have. Let's dump that all in, and we should get access to it. There we go, alternative fluid transport. So what did this give us? It gave us a new building called the Packager. That will probably be in here somewhere. Once I find where it is, there it is, the Packager. And that basically has a bunch of recipes. Let's just actually build one. Not that we're going to be using it just here, but you get the idea. There's the new building. Kind of nice. And it acts as an alternative, or the sort of improved version, if you like, to the refinery being used to package fluids. So you can feed stuff in here and cause it to be packaged, like fuel. You can feed fuel in and get fuel out, of course, stuff like that. Have a look at that. Let's just sort of move over here. So empty canisters, we need to actually make to do that, and then fuel, and then that will be combined to make the packaged fuel. Same thing with everything else. Or you can unpackage. So the ideal way that you can use this is to basically transport stuff on trains in sort of normal container transports. Instead of going through long pipelines, just package it, throw it onto a train, and unpackage it at the other end. Much like Factorio, I guess, but although Factorio does have fluid wagons, I think, if I remember rightly. But it's been a while. So yeah, unpackaging. And then, of course, there's fuel in here as well. And it does mention that you can make much better biofuel with this whole recipe as well anyway. So I probably unlocked a new recipe. But for the time being, I don't need this right away, but it is going to be very useful for storage more than anything else. If I want to have a large buffer, or if stuff is being constrained, you know, so if you're trying to throw lots of stuff into refineries or whatever, and you've got too much and everything's not balanced, you just package it and throw it into a cargo can or 10 and forget about it for a little while until your entire factory stops. That is indeed the Factorio way, and indeed the Satisfactory way. So with that in mind, it's not just about that single new building. We are going to have a whole bunch of other stuff. To get to the next sort of stuff, we can have a look at sort of logistics. So in here, we've got a bunch of new stuff with pipelines. So there is a new pipeline Mark II, carries double the capacity of the original pipeline, which means you can get like 5 water extractors onto a single pipeline now, which is obviously double capacity, as I said. That was 2.5 before. You can then also get a new pipeline pump Mark II. Now this is a little different. It's not just double Mark I, it is more than double. And it's basically important that it increases the head lift of a pump. So if you had to have pumps pump Mark Is, quite a few of them on a pipeline, you'll now have to have a lot less, because you're trying to raise the fluid uphill or something like that. So you want to actually get the second tier there. And finally, valves let you constrict pipelines. So if you wanted to, say, have that pipeline Mark II with 600, and let's say you had to distribute it to 6 buildings, you would normally just connect up the pipelines, but it may well not auto balance. It may just pull into the first one, and the second one wouldn't be used. And if you wanted to balance them, I guess you could use valves to restrict the flow into each of the buildings and stuff like that. Or indeed, I think that's largely the only thing I can think of. If you can think of another reason for use a valve, feel free to put it in the comments down below. So that's basically the fluid changes as far as pipelines are concerned, or at least using them is concerned. So I will be using them over here, back where our water extractors are, just to basically connect more up to a single pipeline rather than using multiple junctions together. I think I had a bit of an issue probably. So I've got 2 here, and then I've got more down there, and I think they're actually constrained because I had to send... if I remember rightly, I had to connect some this way. Yes, and some went the other way, and it got a bit... I wanted to actually tidy this up, so I will do. There's 5 there, so they can all connect to one pipeline, and it wouldn't be constrained. And of course, I will only need perhaps 1 pump Mark II. So that's pretty good. Next up in the update, we have, let's see, ladders are available. So if you don't like jump pads, you can use ladders instead to actually climb up buildings and stuff like that. I need to actually go and build some, and then I'll show you them. Let me get back to the base. And it looks like they're stuck in the awesome shop, so you have to actually accrue some of the tokens, which I don't have any at the moment, so I'll need to go. In fact, do I have any stored up? I don't think I do. So we'll have to get them from that, and then do I have any? Oh, I do have tokens. Go and buy them. Why not? There's nothing much else in the shop I actually need at the moment, so that's fine. So let's just add them to cart, and buy all, please. Yeah, there's the schematic. So I should now have ladders in here somewhere. Let's assume it's going to be logistics, maybe? Organization? There we go, ladders. So they work just like the lifts. You can use a start point and an end point to get further up here. Do we have anywhere where it's suitable to build a ladder? Maybe there. Yeah, that looks like it's going to work. So ladder, start point, and endpoint. Yep. And you can climb up them. And over to the top. Cool. Nice little addition. I very much approve. And also there is another improvement. I used to have a jump pad over here. The jump pad has been taken, well, it's not been taken out, been replaced. So any jump pads you've got down, you may want to pick them back up again because they've been replaced with a new version, new model, and a new feature as well. So let's get one of those down, and then you can see once I remember where it actually is. It's going to be in logistics, isn't it? At the top, maybe? No? Why am I not remembering where my jump pads are? Jump pads are, of course, in transportation. So jump pads, you can put them down wherever you like, but you can see there is a blue line now. So if I rotate that towards that building, and I put it right here, you can see the blue line, and I'm going to fall short according to that blue line. So if I click once and the scroll wheel, I can basically change my trajectory and try to hit the building. That's not going to be enough. So what I'm going to do is put it to the next block forwards, and let's see where we go. So there we go. And now I can change my trajectory to land just on the very edge of the ledge there. Click again, and then do the usual thing of basically hooking this up to power. I need to basically put a power pole in because I don't like it being that low, but yeah, we'll come on to that another time. And income trajectory, just short. I need to actually hit it in the middle to really hit that line. But oh, there we go. And I should land right where we want. And of course you can chain those to actually work your way up via zigzag over the top of a huge building, but you may also want to prefer the ladders. They're a little bit slower than the jump pads, but hey, they're a lot nicer. So speaking of nicer, particularly for organization around your world, one of the other things that I don't think is old, I think it is actually a new feature with this update, let me know in the comments down below if I'm wrong, is that you can take your wall outlets that were very, very nicely added. There is, of course, the Mark 1 and Mark 2 versions. This one goes through a wall, the other one does not. Unfortunately, this only works for Mark 1, but now you can just basically stick them on the ceiling. So if you want to have your wall outlets nicely hooked up to the ceiling, so let's say we wanted one there, and then we can hook this back over to here. You can have your power lines either across the ceiling or through multiple of those power connectors. And then from there down to, let's just actually dismantle that power line. There, down, and not have the messy cables going through the middle. And indeed, that probably means you no longer really need to have these power lines, and certainly not going through walls like this, because you can go through a wall, first of all, with the power connector Mark II, and then up onto the ceiling, and then from the ceiling across. And then, unfortunately, that does mean that your only way of transporting power up to the new floor, at least not without passing through, you know, floors like that, is going to be outside of the building. So you're going to have an outside connector like that going up to each floor with the Mark IIs. But it is a much nicer improvement. And if we could have the Mark IIs, please go through the ceiling floor barrier, I would kind of like that. So developers, just an idea. Anyway, with that done, that's a whole other range of improvements that should be pretty good for you for this update. Let's see, what else do we have on the list? We could cover the packager, the valves. Do I have anything else to actually talk about? I think that's some major features of this update. I'm really just covering the update rather than a particular episode. I want to get this out as soon as possible so everyone can actually convert stuff in their factory. and get to some nice sort of improvements. And of course, I'll add some extra episodes in the Satisfactory playlist of us doing that once we're done. With that in mind, I'll leave you alone to go and play around with your factories and unbreak everything, as usually tends to happen on these updates. And say if you'd like to subscribe, you can down below, of course, with the bell for notifications, or indeed just click the thumbs up for a video. All helps the channel out. Otherwise, we'll see you next time for some more Satisfactory, and as always, guys, thanks for watching.